Hello everyone, my name is Stanley Mitch and this is my first video on YouTube that I'm going to teach editing with my face visible. I'm sure that the environment doesn't look great. Partly why I have not been doing it is because I purposed that I would beautify this place first before I begin to teach, but again I've noticed that that might take longer than I imagined. So why not just start right away, and then we are going to develop the look as we grow. For now, we are going to discuss just two things: how you can transform a photo like the one you can see on your desktop from what it looks like to something like this. How do you take a photo like this and then transform it to look like this with wordings like this, which creates a whole different vibe. These two are twins. They are brothers. They have a birthday. I could have written their birthday or the number of years they are turning. They are both turning 6. And it's something I could do, but then I decided because they are twins, this time around we are going to write twins. If you decide to write something different, then we are going to write that, we are going to make that change as we go. But for now, let's begin. Anything that I'm going to use here, from color lookups to actions, those I am going to give free on the description box. You just hit the link there and download them. If you'd also want to download this photo and follow along, it will also be available for download in the same link in the description box. So you have nothing to worry about. If you have your own photo, regardless of the color of the background, you can also follow along. The concept is the same, except that a few dynamics might change. So we begin. Now, the first step is to create a copy by pressing Ctrl J on your keyboard, Ctrl plus J on your keyboard, and you make another copy. In this new copy, we are going to select, you click the fourth tool, which is the object selection tool on your Photoshop, and then click select subject. It's going to do you a base kind of selection. It is not perfect. Newer versions of Photoshop can do a better job, but my system cannot run those. So we can come in and zoom in and see what it's done, and there are a few errors here. There are a number of ways of correcting such errors. One of them is somewhere there in the selection tool you pick, quick selection tool, pick a plus and add those parts that were left out that you feel should have been included. This one sometimes does snap and goes beyond the area you want, like that. So it's not always effective, no matter how hard you try. There are times that it later snaps and you cannot make that adjustment. But for the times that it works, this is your first option. Option number 2 is mounting that on a solid color. Here on adjustments layer, solid color, and then pick a color that is conspicuous, different from the color of the clothes they are wearing and the color of the background. Here, a conspicuous color would be green. Let's pick green, a very bright green. Now we zoom in. Then we go to brush. This is the brush tool. It is tool number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is tool number 9 on your list, and there are many tools there within that brush tool. But today we are going to use just the first tool, the brush tool. How I open that is by clicking for long pressing it, and then the list aligns itself. Then I pick brush tool. Then you ensure that you have selected the mask and not this icon, but the mask. And then with white as your foreground color, if it is not, you just click this arrow or press X on your keyboard. It will do the same. It will toggle between white and black. If these colors are not white and black, maybe let's say one color was red or gray, let's pick just any different colors. For you to get black and white, you just need to press D and they go back to default. Now we begin. Now you pick a brush of a decent size so that you can paint here, and hardness that is almost 100. I'll show you what they do. If it's at 0, it is very soft with feathering, and you can see that feather at the edge. I'll undo that. and if it's hard, again it will do a sharp edge. This time round we want a hard edge, so we'll paint with that along the area where we feel all these parts should be selected. Understand that at this point, it's the boys and what they are wearing and their clothes and their shoelaces. They should all be selected to the edge, clean to the edge, but I've just undone. To undo, you press Ctrl Z. If you make a mistake, you press Ctrl Z to undo your last step and then do that again. What I'm doing is just navigating around the image to ensure that I can see where there are errors that requires adjustments. If you are fully zoomed in like this, you might not see the difference between this and the background, but if you are zoomed out slightly, you will see where the selection tool missed in selecting the subject. Select subject is an AI function that is inside Photoshop. You don't even need internet for it to work, but there are times it doesn't work great, mostly because like now there is no contrast between the background and the person. Maybe if the background was green, it would have succeeded in selecting them right, because the difference between green and the shirt that is white, Photoshop would tell them apart. But now that the background is similar to what they are wearing, most of things are inherently white here or majorly white, then it's hard for Photoshop to tell them apart. When you see me changing the size of the brush, is because if the brush is big and I click, it will over-select what I don't want it to select. So I'm making the brush smaller so that it fits, so that I can select the shoelace or whatever part of the photo I feel should be included. Here, you also ensure that the shadows are selected outside, like they are not selected, because if you select them, they are going to create us a problem in future as we continue with our edit. And this mask we are creating is the mask you're going to use for everything. The inside part of the mask is the side of the subject. We are going to use there to adjust everything that you're going to make for the subject, and everything else that is outside the mask, which is the inverse of this mask, shall be what we are going to use to edit the background. Now we are done adding the parts that we feel were left out. Now we click this mask, double click it, it will bring properties. If you don't see properties there, you go to Windows and then ensure that property is checked. It will come here, then inverse it. Inverse it, we want to see have we selected everything right? Now we are shifting it to selecting the background, so that if there is a part that we feel was not well selected within the shot, then we select that part. If there is a part that was included that was supposed to be excluded, we go there. For instance, I mentioned earlier that we need to exclude the shadows, and as you can see here, they are included in the selection of the subject and they are excluded in the background. We want to leave them as part of the background, so we add them to the background so that everything that is green now is the background. Now the parts that are difficult to paint are parts like this with a corner. All you need is a smaller brush. First, draw an edge. That's how you do art. You draw a line around the area you want to have cleaned. Then once you have that right, you can clean everything else, even with a bigger brush like this. But then we left a part here, which we need a smaller brush to go in and collect it. We want to take away some parts, so we toggle this to black, and then we add it like that. Right, perfect. Then here at the shoelaces, there are parts that have been left out, so we are going to adjust those ones as well. Now we pick a small brush and then move in to the shoelaces like that, and then the parts that are poorly selected we undo. We toggle between black and white and then bring them back, because it was almost impossible to get a smaller brush that would fit there. If it's too small, it's going to give us too much work, so we are using a relatively bigger brush. And even if you eat part of or touch or include part of the subject here, it's not going to matter much, because we are only doing this so that we can separate the background from the person. It would be a problem if it was part of a face or a hand or something, but articles of clothing, an edge does not make much of a difference. People don't zoom that much to see such errors, and even then the errors are concealed within your edit. They are very hard to see. Now I zoom out again. There is another part here at behind the trouser, this part. So we go take that part, draw in and out. That's the part we needed to exclude. Another part here we need to exclude between these 2 feet, these 2 legs, the space between the trousers. In Kenya we don't call them pants, we call them trousers. Pants are other things. As I talk, you can see what I'm doing. I'm just explaining a few things so that as I do what I'm doing, one, it doesn't become redundant, it doesn't bore you, but also you get to understand why I get to do what I do, because then there is a long video of this edit on this channel that is very long, that has no audio, there's no voiceover, that has no voiceover, that once you have understood how I work here, then you will understand how the rest of the photos in that video were edited, and I'm going to leave that link both at the description. It will pop here at the card, and it will be at the end of this video at the end screen as a trailer of what you should watch next. But then, so that you understand what is happening in that video, you will need to watch this one, the one that has an explainer. Then the other long video becomes the video you go follow to see the difference, the different edits I accorded the photos. These photos are 10. You don't want to edit all the photos the same way, because if they edited the same way, then the client will not see the need to pay you for 10 images that majorly looks the same and people are wearing the same clothes. It's different in different parts. Maybe in Kilimani or some other areas, people are comfortable with that. I've seen people shooting from Westlands leaving the photos with plain backgrounds, and if they were shot on gray, they are all gray, and their clients are happy. But Githurai is a semi-arid area in terms of financials, so people here appreciate a good edit mostly. So if you accord them that, you're going to be, it's going to be very much appreciated. So if I inverse Control I at the mask here, sorry, at the mask here, if I copy, if I press Control I, Control I, Control I, Control I, Control plus I, or double click like we had done earlier and click inverse, we are going to see the subject selected, the background selected, the subject selected, the background selected, the subject selected, the background selected. Now at this point, we have included the shadow together with the background, except for this shoe, which we are going to adjust. We toggle that to white by pressing X or this arrow again, like that, so that the shadows, if we inverse it again, the shadows are included with the background and the subjects don't have the shadow. If we inverse it, then you'll see the shadow is not part of the shoes and all that. We are going to keep that way. Then we are going to create 2 groups. Group number 1, this icon here that looks like a folder, this icon that looks like a folder is your icon for groups. So we create 2 groups, 1, 2. In the first group, we are going to copy this mask, drag this mask and drop it there. For that group, now we turn off the eye for this layer. We no longer need it. We are just using it as a check layer to check whether the background has been selected well or has been separated well from the subject. Now this is the subject. If you click Alt and click it, you will see that the subject has, there is a hole, there is black around them, to mean this mask selects only the background. The inverse of it will have selected the subject. So we are going to press Alt and then drag this mask to the top group and then inverse it, Control I, or double click it and inverse it. Now if you click it with Alt, you will see that what is selected is now the subject. Now everything we are going to add in here is intended for the subject, and everything we are going to do here is intended for the background. Now up to that point we are fine. Let's delete this layer. We are done. You really understand? Let's keep it for now. We'll call it a check layer. And every time you have it, it will always, and we can even keep its own mask if we want to, just for the sake of it. How to copy a mask? You press Alt on your keyboard, and then with the left key on your keyboard, you long press it and then drag it to where you want that mask to go. If you want that version of the mask, you keep it. If you want the inverse of that mask, you double click it and click inverse, or you on your keyboard you press Control plus I. Nice. Now we're together. Now to select the subject, again we just need to press Control on your keyboard and double click this mask, because we agreed that this is the mask for the subject, this is the mask for the background. But then we have done that because we want to smoothen this background from all these things you see, from all the wrinkles you see, from all the imperfections you can see. So to do that, then we'll go to actions. This action was created by Brian Umo. I think he's Nigerian. He gives it for free on his channel. I'm also going to give it for free on this channel because I didn't buy it from him. He gave it to us for free. He's a good editor. He's a good photographer as well. You can pop into his channel and like his videos, watch some of his content, and also subscribe to him. He's one of the people that is doing a very great input to this industry. So on that, we click the action and then play the action. If you would like to know how to install this action and you have no idea how it's installed, you can just ask for a video for it. We are going to create a video on how to load an action that is not already on Photoshop. The first thing it says expand. I don't want it expanded, so we keep 1. We expand it by 1 because we don't want the big distance. Now let's first create a big one. Again, Control Z. Let's create a big one, a big expansion, so that you see what expand means. I'll play. So if I pick like 20, like that, okay, you realize that it creates a very big addition to this selection until it's detached from the subject. Now I want to clean it as close as I did my selection. That is why I made it a 1. Partly why 1 is because if you pick 0, it will not allow you. So let's try again. If I pick 0 here, 0, it won't. It will say an integer between 1 and 500 is required. So you are not allowed to pick, and by default it picks 1. So we go by 1. And then feather radius. Feather is the smoothness, the interaction, the blend, how that selection is going to blend with the selection you've made and the background. That is it. So you click it, and then next is the blur. The blur of 200 is okay. You can always check across your photo to see whether it's fine, and then press OK. Having done that, now we have cleaned the background, and you can see it's from this to this. Not much of a difference, but it cleans up the background and sets a nice area for us to work with a clean slate. You see, now the battery is going off, so let me change the battery and then we continue. Sorry, I had used the battery. This is the dummy battery. This is what we are going to use. If you are a photographer and you like how to know how to use the dummy battery, there'll be a video for it on this channel. This is the dummy battery. You just put it inside your camera, add this plug, and then attach it to your wall, and your camera will never go off. So I'll do that in a while and then I'll come back. Alright. We are back, guys. We are back. Now with this setup, it will never go off because it doesn't, it uses the wall socket power, it doesn't use the battery. The downside to it is that if we have a blackout, it will go off. But again, why do you need to keep recording if the computer I'm teaching you with will also go off? So it makes sense. Let's continue. Now, having separated the photo from the background, like you can see, let me show you. If you press Alt and press this layer, you'll see they are standing alone on that in the middle of nowhere, and then now you add the background that is now clean. Now and then you add the background that is now clean, and then if you press Alt to see what we have done, and then press this eye, you will see how far we've come. Now the part that is remaining is to add that title, that twin title. Now what I did earlier, I went to ChatGPT. People said that AI will take our jobs. I'll say that we can make AI work for us. I can even add this one like that. But let's continue. The prompt says, create a neon light written twins on a black background. There's a mistake here. On a black background, make it glow. I'll post the prompt on this description, on the description box again, so that if you want to create similar, you can only just swap this word here with the word birthday. So let's copy it, for instance, and create another saying, create a neon light written HBD written HBD on a black background, make it glow. And then we add the prompt we added earlier. We say full stop, use a fancy wedding font. Now when it's done creating what it's creating, we are going to prompt it to do this new thing, and it will also give us that. So for now, I'll cut this prompt, and then we wait, see what it has created. We are just creating a version of this with a more fancy font, so that I show you how I got it now from AI and now went to use it on. How I got it from AI and went to use it on Photoshop. AI is not here to destroy us, it's here to help us work better efficiently, because AI can do things but it cannot think. You need to tell it what to think. Even if it can think, you need to tell it what to think and how to think. Now you see these twins is not written the same as this one. You can see that. So we'll use the new one just so that we have a variation. Open the folder where it has loaded. This is the download folder. And then let's make those icons large, like that, and then drag and drop it inside Photoshop, put it where we want it to stay. And then what is that blend mode? That takes away the blacks and leaves everything that is 50% gray and up visible. It is in the category of blend modes. This is where blend modes are found. You can try error, like just scroll down like this and you will see what they are doing as you go down, and then you stop at whatever you like, even when you don't know what it's doing, provided you like the results, because with photography and Photoshop, it's either if it looks good, it is good. But then I already know which one works, so I'll go for screen. Fine. If I pick screen here like that, then that is one of the ways. The other way I can do, let me make a copy of this and then bring it back to normal. The other thing I could do is use blend if. Double click it and then it will bring me this. On that layer, on this layer, not underlying, this layer, I will split, I'll pick this and drag it to the right like this. When it gets there, I click Alt and split it and then spread it so that there is a clean blend between the initial background and what we are just creating here, like that. Now, as you can see, one is more like the other, except that it doesn't shine like the initial one. Let's put it down. You can see that this initial one looks like it's really bright. But you know why we cannot see the brightness? It's because it's hard to see light amongst light. White is very bright, and white is also very bright. So light on a white background is almost not visible. But if we put a layer here, a curves adjustment layer, and drop the lights from that photo, you're going to see, now we can visibly see that term twins. So we leave it the way it is for now, but then so that we can pick this and then we show transformation controls so that we can control the size of the letters, place them where we want them to be, like that, and then we come back to that layer and then we take away part of that background using a brush with black, a black brush. Let's use a flow that is about a flow of 100. Just you click once, it takes away everything at once. But if you use a flow of about 15 or something less than that, but let's use 15, it's going to take away the thing you click gradually, not once, but it's going to take away the effect of that layer gradually, not just once, gradually, like that. You see, now you know when to stop. Now that you have understood, let me show you. Now we take away all the hardness so that it is a soft round brush, and then we come and click the layer. We want this light should dwell on them and it should shine more near the head, and then fade as it goes down their bodies, like that. We are just keeping it so that we are keeping the background slightly darker so that we can see that word twin right above their heads. Now we'll add this to a group, maybe Control G, or you drag and drop it to a group like that. Add another mask, and then we'll take it from below here because we don't need it below there. So we'll make this 50 and then take it away from below here like that. That way now the term twin can be read easily, and the boys are there and the background. Now let's say we want to add a thing at the background. I have very many downloaded backgrounds. If you like to buy them from me, I will sell them to you at a fair price. My number is right on the description of this video. It's also at the title of this video, so it's right there. You can come to my inbox, then we are going to discuss and then you tell me what you're offering. If it's reasonable, I can sell you the whole folder, or sell you some that you can afford, some for the white background or some for the gray background. I have separated them in categories so that you know what works. But then we are going to come to our regular, and then pick something from the regular background. For this time, you're going to use something simple like a circle, this one. Drag and drop it and leave it there, and then expand it so that it's part of that background, so that this line at the top separates the boys' heads from the writings that way. And then we put a mask, we add a mask to it, and then with a black brush we paint it from below so that we take away that part so that it blends nicely with the background. I'll zoom in, you'll see it has artifacts, these ones. So to take those away, we just need to blur it a little. So a blur of about 7 to 10 would do. So we pick a blur of 7, like that. And you see it works. Or, if you don't know which number, it's out of editing that you know the right number, you just start with little blur, and then you go increasing it slowly and gradually until you settle for a number that you feel, now that took away that imperfection. Like this one, 8 takes away that imperfection. You see? Now that way, now we have a clean background that have a circular art, let's call it an illustration, a circular illustration, and then on top of them there is this word twin. So to intensify the intensity of this word twin, I'm just resizing it so that it fits in the area where I want it to be, so that we have like a pleasant sharing of space, that there is space for the writing, space for the circles, space for the children, and so on. At that point, we are almost done, and if you can look at it, you will see it's done. In my studio, it's compulsory that we copyright it, so we are going to put a watermark on it, right at the edge, here. There. That is how you recognize our works. All our works will have that writing. If you zoom in, you will see what the writing says. It says Mastech Photo Studio. So you will always know our works when you see them all the time. Right. Up to that point, if you are not ambitious like I am, you can leave it there. But if you are ambitious like I am, then you are going to add something to it. One, we are going to use a color lookup table. So we go to adjustment layers again, color lookup table, and we are going to use one in particular called V6 from Shazim. That V6. But then we want it on the subject alone. So what did we say we do? We drag that onto the group that says subject. So you see, it only affects the subject and not the background. If you zoom in, you realize that it affects the subjects, yes, but it also affects the subjects only where? Also on the trousers, and it changes the color of what they are wearing. So to make it simple, because I want it on skin, I can either take it away and paint it on skin, or take it away from blacks. Fine. So the easiest way for me is to add it to another mask, to another group, sorry, and then on that group add a mask, and then pick a brush with black, a good size that will help me paint, and then with brush at 100, I'll take it away from all the black areas. I'll take it away from all the black areas of their clothes, like this. And now you see the trousers will be left in their original color, but the hands are going to have that glow that color lookup created. As you can see so far, not everything you add you keep. Sometimes you add and take it away from certain places. Some things are only good for certain things, they're not good for everything. If this cloth was another color, let's say blue, it wouldn't have acted the same. If it was red, it wouldn't have reacted the same, because that color lookup affects different colors differently. So on this one, we are going to take it away from the blacks because it changes what they should be, because we do not want to create a whole new attire from what the boys are wearing. We want to leave it closest to reality as we can, but also as beautiful as we couldn't get it on camera. Cameras are great, there are better cameras nowadays, but they evidently cannot create you great results like this Photoshop can do. There is space for editing. We all can have a camera with the same lens and produce similar results if we use the same settings, and probably shoot the same person, because different skin tones, and people that are photogenic, some pretty people, they are just, and otherwise looking people will show up differently in your photos. But then, having done that, what will set you apart mostly is the edit. Now, up to this point, I like what it's doing to skin, but it's too much. So I'm going to reduce opacity of that layer. No, I won't say a number. I'm just going to look at it and then reduce it slowly and gradually until I like what it looks like. That number is good, 62. It's good, it's better than 100. At that point, you can see what it's doing to your skin. Alright? The skin becomes brighter, the skin glows, the yellows and the oranges becomes brilliant, you see? And that makes the difference from this to this. Now, you can also stop here if you're not ambitious like I am. But then if you're ambitious like I am, then you are going to retouch the skin. So you zoom it in, all the way in, and you'll see imperfections on the skin. So you come to the layer that has the subject, this one, and then retouch that part. You'll use this tool. It's called Spot Healing Brush Tool. It is tool number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is tool number 8 in your Photoshop tool list. You pick the very first one, Spot Healing Brush Tool, and then you click on anything you think you want to take away. If the brush is too big, it's going to destroy your image. So pick a small size. Let's say, let's zoom in a little. Let's say when you see the blemish is this size, slightly larger than your blemish, just that. That should be enough. If there may be a blemish stretches, you can also paint around it. But just ensure that you select the whole blemish and not part of it. So what I'm doing here, this is nitpicking. This is pixel peeping. You do not have to. Some people don't appreciate this. Some people do. 90% women will always prefer this. They want to look smooth, because in a group of many of them, only a few have those smooth skins, and those that have smooth skins are usually petite and slim, and they don't have those other curves that others are looking for. So those ones will be asking you to use Liquify to increase their hips. And the ones that have hips, because of the fat, the oil, the sebum in them, that one is also going to make them have acne, blemishes, pimples on skin. So you are going to be taking those away every time you edit. And the curse for this is, if you do one photo very well, that will be the metric against which they are going to check the rest of your works. So if somebody selects 10 images, you're going to do that thing you did, the same process over and over again, changing only one thing, the background, adjusting only one thing, the background, the look of the background, the brightness of lights. This is something you cannot avoid. You'll be doing it every time, because kids play a lot. Sometimes they have blemishes on their hands, maybe scars, maybe because they fell or something scratched them, or mosquitoes bite them, and because of the mosquito bitings, they are going to have those blemishes. So you don't, I've seen that problem, people editing just the face because they think only the face is important. We are editing the skin, not the face. If they had open shoes, we would also go down to their feet, because that is also the skin, and ensure that we take away every blemish everywhere on that the skin shows. It doesn't matter where. I know this is a natural one, everybody has it on their hands, but why keep it when we can take it away? and then we take away from the other boy's face. We started with one boy, went around, now we come back to the face of the second boy. We take blemishes, even the black spots in the eyes, because we want that part to be just pure white. Yeah, like that. And now we're good. If you like to go further in retouching from here, this is completely up to you. Again, it's nitpicking, this is pixel peeping, but what you do is just make 2 copies of this, and then convert both to smart objects, so that whatever filter you add it as smart filter, and you can always go back and change the figures, the numbers you use. So I'm waiting for it to convert, and then you will switch off the top one and leave the second one, and then work on the second one so that you go to the top one and get the top one to also do what it's supposed to do. For those of you who understand separation of textures and tones so that you can retouch, that's what we are going to do. We might not use the same filters that you use, but still we are going to do more or less the same. So we are going to use on the first layer, which we are going to call tone, stroke color. Then that one we are going to go to noise, and then dust and scratches, and then just add the radius like that. 13 seems to work. It has taken away all the textures and has left just a smudge of the skin. As you can see, there's no texture, it's just a smudge. And then we put on the top one, and then we go to filter, and then other, and then high pass. And then on high pass, we start from 0 like this, and then increase that number until it begins to look like 5 bob. If you're Kenyan, you know what I'm talking about. A coin has that engravement of the president's face. It will look like that. A figure around, depending on the resolution of your photos, different figures will work. For now, we'll stop at 9, like that, and then convert that, change that blend mode to overlay. Then put those 2 in a group. You press Control, select both layers, and Control G, or drag them both to a group like that, and then call this one retouch. That way. We use blend mode again. You double click and then take it away from the black areas of the underlying layer. So then split and drag it away so that it does not show up on the shadows. And you also split the highlights so that some highlights show. You can see what is happening to the eye. Now you see what it's doing to the skin. Now it's all over the place. It's in the hair, it's in the clothes, it's in the hands, it's on the shoes. You can see it everywhere. So we want to only have it show up on the skin alone. So we are going to add a mask, double click it and invert it. We've done that before already. And then we are going to paint with a brush at 100 on their faces and ensure that this color is white. Then we paint on their skin to reveal that effect that smoothens the skin on places only where the skin is. And if a place is very smooth, you can skip it. But for the most part in this image, we are going to retouch almost everywhere. Leave alone the smile lines, but you can edit any other part inside the smile lines like that. The hands are just okay. Now we do, they're not okay, so we do the hands. We're just going to reveal that effect on the hands. You'll wonder why I'm not worried that I might be painting outside, but I'll show you why. Because later I'll add that to the group that affects the subject alone, like that. And now you can see that the boys are both tack sharp and smooth as can be. You see? Then we'll take that effect away from the eyes, because you don't need it in the eyes. We want the eyes sharp and clean. We don't want them blur and smoothened. Even on the teeth, like that. And then we take that and drop it in the place that we have the subject, right? So we put it in a group and get the subject mask. I don't know where we kept them. This is the subject, so we add that mask to the group like that. And now we have restricted that retouch only to the skin. You can see where it's passing. It's just around the people, the subject. And now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done editing that image. This is the process I will use to edit every other photo you will see along the other 10 images that we edited. The link is in the description. The video is it's somewhere here, and it's popping somewhere at the top of this video. Go watch that one. It doesn't have the voice overlay, but you can see the other backgrounds I used, the other kind of retouches I did, the other elements I added to the background. Some I added flowers, some I added textured background, some I added a logo, some I added just a number of things. Go follow that and enjoy. It's long, but you're going to enjoy and you're going to learn. My name is Stanley Mitch. Thank you for your support. Please remember to subscribe and watch this other video on this channel, and bring your support. If you like the video or the information, click like. If there's something you've not understood, or you'd like just me to do, or you'd like me to do just a piece of that part alone, explaining it slowly, without haste, on how to execute that skill at that point, or you'd like to buy backgrounds from us, you just call, you can send a text, or write it in the comment box. I'll see it from there, and then I'll address it with another video.